Hello, and welcome back to another episode, 50...
What? Why do you jump straight in? You're meant to ease it in. You're meant to, you know,
50...
let the water flow before you say anything.
57 or 50...
Hey,
58.
Hey, by the way, I got a really interesting fact for you guys.
Go on then.
Do you know why Esso is called Esso? The petrol station.
No.
Well, basically, back in the day, they used to write... So some guy owned something called Standard Oil, and he told his little minion to write SO for Standard Oil on the barrel, and he went away and wrote ESSO, thinking that's how you spelled Esso.
That is a good fact.
Yeah. You want another one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, I got loads. Do you know why Up to Scratch is called Up to Scratch? Well...
Why? Something to do with golf?
Nah, you're wrong.
I said to someone else, I want to go and paint a sign, and it has to be up to scratch.
Nah, you're way off. You are
not the same guy inventing all these phrases himself by mistake.
You are way off.
Oh.
So basically, what the guy did is when you used to box back in the day, you used to draw a line on the ground, and the line was called scratch. And you used to box with your feet on the line. And if you got knocked over, you would then be, the way to start fighting again would be you have to get back up to scratch.
Ah, okay.
You want another one? You want another one?
Is this the show?
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
Cool. You want another one?
Yeah, it's called, our podcast is called You Want Another One?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Give us another one.
Okay, I'll give you one more because it's a really good one. Do you know why James Bond has a martini shaken, not stirred?
No.
Okay, so basically a stirred. And to our listeners, don't write in saying this is wrong because you're ruining a good story. So just leave it.
Are any of these right?
Yeah, they're all right. Every single one of them.
Take
they
your
have a
word for
martini shaken, not stirred, because when you have a stirred martini, the ice and the water and all the alcohol within it mix together, so they're all mixed. When you have a shaken martini, the water and the alcohol separate. The water sits on top, so he's only just drinking water, not getting drunk. Ian Fleming, you genius.
Wow.
Yeah.
Clever.
You want another one? Hello everyone, welcome to Private Parts Podcast. This is where we read the most intimate and sordid details of our lives. Join me as always is Francis Bull. Hello Francis.
Bonjour.
And also, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we should probably announce it right now. We have someone else in the room, and Francis, you are one of his biggest fans. If we're going to make you bashful and
Lovely.
a little bit embarrassed, why don't you introduce?
Ladies and gentlemen, listeners of Private Parts Podcast, James Acaster.
Yeah.
Whoa! He's got a brilliantly funny special on Netflix called Repertoire, which is the accumulation of 4 years.
Well, it's kind of, maybe even longer than that.
Yeah.
But years and years of going to the Edinburgh Festival and touring shows, and
I have to say it is actually the funniest special I've seen on Netflix.
Thank you very much. Official?
Yeah, it is. For me, yeah. Anyway.
Look at he's so like blushing. You're so like,
it's lovely.
Wait, Francis, I don't know. This is what Francis does when he flirts.
Well, no.
Really weird. He sort of gets all like,
I like it.
God, I like your Netflix.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. But James and I met actually 3 years ago.
I think longer than that,
4
actually.
years.
I think quite a long time ago, because it was like maybe 5 years ago or so, 6 years ago.
It was a long time ago, and we were doing this pilot for this show for Channel 4, and we the rest is history.
Yeah, I think we were on a team together, and probably didn't know who each other was. Or,
I didn't know any of James's comedy, but then after I met you and after we filmed that thing, I went onto YouTube and looked at all of your and you very quickly became one of my favourite comedians. So.
Yes, that's how I get my fan base.
Exactly.
So
I get on
pilots.
run-throughs with them and pilots with them.
I quite like Francis. You just thought James was quite cute, so you went and checked him out on YouTube. You're like, oh, let's go check this guy out. Is that what you did?
I was like, who is this guy? He must have some good stuff.
But James, this is the funny thing. So you said that you were doing Edinburgh for ages, right? And I heard that you are called the Leonardo DiCaprio of Edinburgh.
Yeah, no, not for the reasons that the listeners can't see me. So like, who is this hunk that they've got on the show? But
why is that? Why are you called
it's because he got nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars a lot and didn't win, and I got nominated for the Best Show at the Edinburgh Fringe and didn't
really?
win.
But you got nominated 6 times.
5 times.
Wow.
But,
not 6 times?
No, not 6.
Well, whoever wrote this down on this piece of paper is wrong.
Felt like 6. So that's fair enough.
So wait, was that consecutive years? 5 years in a row?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and that's what these shows are on Netflix. It's 3 of the shows that got nominated, and the 4th show is a compilation of the other 2 shows that got nominated. So it's like it's all
Fucking
those
hell,
shows.
being nominated 5 times.
Yeah.
Are you at the end of you literally like, well, what the fuck? What's going on? Are you not like, come on?
No, well, you never expect to get nominated even once, and so every time it happens, it's just really nice and fun, and you just kind of you don't think that you're ever going to be nominated for that award, and so each time it happened, yeah, great.
Well, this is the thing that we need to ask your advice on, because speaking of Edinburgh and speaking of touring,
Yes.
you are gonna jump out of your seat when you.
We're
hear
going on
this.
tour.
Yeah, we're going.
Oh man!
Oh, watch out!
Yeah.
Watch out!
I'm glad I'm not on tour this year because I'll be playing in some empty rooms, that's for sure.
Too kind.
So, ladies and gentlemen, to all of our podcasts, hey, listeners, we are going on tour. Private Parts is going on tour.
Private Parts live.
Yeah, at 10 a.m. today, which is a Friday. It depends if you're listening to this on a Saturday or Sunday or Monday. And it was the Friday that's just passed. But
Just get to the point.
Okay, tickets are on sale. Boom. All you have to do is go to our website, www.privatepartspodcast.com. That is what, Francis?
That's the website.
Yeah, but what is it? www what?
www. You don't even need to do the www. And actually, it's quicker to say worldwideweb.com,
Okay, well, fine.
not .com.
Well, yeah, so it's private parts.
Worldwideweb.privateparts.com.
No, www. You're confusing everyone now.
I just go word. Just let me do a really word noise.
Privateparts.com.
Anyway, they are selling like hot cakes. So go onto the website and click them and get them.
Get them while they last, these hotcakes that are our tickets.
Oh, because they are tasty.
Yeah, but then by the time they go and see you, the cakes would cool down a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise they'll be too hot. You know?
After the
And everyone-
reviews at Edinburgh.
And everyone, and everyone will be going in the audience because they are
you
just
don't want
that
that.
hot.
People burning their mouths on those hot cakes.
But we're going on tour, so we are starting in Edinburgh. So we're doing, which we want to actually ask your opinion on. Then we're going to Stamford, Lincoln, Leeds, Southport, Birmingham, Swindon, Newbury, Bristol, Bridgewater, Southampton, Hertford, Liverpool, Lancaster, Preston, Sale, Cheltenham, Corby, and Clapham.
And actually, it's a bit of a milestone for Jamie and I in another way, in that we are both
Turning 21.
We're both turning 21 on the tour.
Yeah.
I'm going to be turning 21 in Hertford.
And I'm going to be turning 21 in Corby.
So these
Corby is so funny. You guys are going to be playing in Corby.
really
So I grew up next to Corby
in Kettering Town.
in Kettering, and let me tell you, you guys are not going to blend in.
Really?
Yeah, I would be really interested to know who comes to that show.
Well, you can come if you're in the
Sure,
area.
if I'm nearby, I'd absolutely come. I'd love to see it. And it'll be interesting. They've got a reputation in Corby on tours by comics of just being very, very difficult.
Really?
Serious?
Yeah, and so it'd be interesting to see how they react to you guys.
Well, this is okay. Fine. Here we go. This
They're
is what.
properly proud working class. They will fucking hate you.
Hang on a minute. We are.
So they'll buy tickets just to hate on us.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Well, we are properly proud
Yes.
working class people as well.
Oh, yeah, good.
So we are ready for you, Corby. But this is the thing I was going to ask. So what is harder, doing something like Edinburgh or doing something like Corby?
It's different. I really enjoy doing Corby because it's like I grew up near there and I can have a laugh with them and stuff like that. Touring can be hard because you're travelling around all the time, you're getting a bit tired and you're kind of doing the same thing every day. And then Edinburgh can be hard because you're not only doing the same thing every night, but also you're getting reviewed. There's talk of awards. There's people like there's that friendly competition that comics have, but it kind of just turns a little bit more serious, and that's not what you got in the comedy for.
Like I, Tonya, that.
Exactly like I told you, I've smashed a lot of people's knees in before shows in order to try and win that award. And I mean, because I've never won it, I feel really bad about it now. Yeah, it was all a waste.
But wait, but Edinburgh is like exhausting though, because how many days do you do Edinburgh for? Like a week?
It's the month.
So you do the whole month?
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing 3 days.
3 days. What venue are you in?
Well, get ready for this.
Underbelly.
Yeah, great.
in the Old Bailey.
Yeah.
There's a few different rooms there, and that, 'cause
The main-
they own a lot of
Probably not
different
the
venues.
main room.
Yeah, we're in the main room of the.
You're only there for 3
Are we in
days.
the, we are in the main room, actually.
Yeah,
for 3
yeah.
days, making
Okay,
the most.
yeah, that makes sense.
It's a start, right? Come on, we've got to start somewhere.
So yeah. So you're starting in the. So you're going to be at the Edinburgh Festival for 3 days in the Big Cow.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. In Bristow
in
Square.
the big one. Okay, so just. I mean, that'll be fine. You'll have fun. If you do get reviewed, you're going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
And,
In a great way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And comics.
I don't
In the daytime, comics probably won't be very friendly to you. They won't respect you in any way.
Because, do you know why? Do you know why? Because they are scared.
They're probably scared and intimidated by you, but they will make out it's because they don't rate you at all as performers. And so that'll be what they make out. But if you guys go out in the evening, you're going to be the people that comedians want to hang out with, because they're going to want to be getting drunk with people who aren't comics, but who are going to be fun and who are also performing at the Fringe.
Do you know what?
That's what you guys.
Do you know what, James? That's the interesting, and this is the barrier that we got across. Is that I suppose we are putting ourselves out there
Yes.
to be funny, and we have no experience in it. People have been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
and so for us just to come in there as two, I suppose, a reality stars type thing, or
Yeah.
two people who've been on television. I hate that word, reality. Jesus,
That
You
is-
love it.
I
That is
hate it.
100% what you are, James.
Nah.
So,
Oh no, I'm not. I am an entrepreneur.
yes.
That's what I'm known for, being an
yeah.
entrepreneur. But it is true, and so that's the kind of stigma we're going to have to cross over.
Yeah.
But we are fully prepared for that, and also we completely know that
We're not just prepared; we're expecting it. You know.
Yeah, well, you say you're prepared for it. Before we started recording, you said you literally don't know what the show is or that you're about to take on tour. So, I mean, that's probably the main reason why comics would not.
Yeah, but you've got to also realise that the best business plan is no business plan.
Yeah, okay. I mean, when you say it like that, it sounds true, doesn't it?
But it's not
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Okay, so
No comedy is good comedy.
So this is interesting. So when you did your first ever sort of gig, and so you must have started in Edinburgh, right? As everyone starts. Where your
Well,
first
I
thing is.
started. My first gig was in Kettering, where I'm from, and then I started gigging in London. And then about 6 months in, I went to the Edinburgh Festival for the first time,
really?
and I camped there for 2 weeks in a field, and it rained every single day. And my
Really?
tent flooded
Where
on
did
the
you
first
camp?
night.
Which field?
It was 15-minute bus journey outside of the festival.
Oh, wow.
It was because I hadn't planned on going. So like the week before, I decided I was going to
But
go.
everything gets booked up.
So
yeah, everything gets booked. All the accommodation gets booked.
So just quickly, no business plan is a good business plan. What you?
Well, no, it's horrific those 2 weeks, but it worked out in the long run. But I got a National Express coach up, and that took 12 hours because it went around loads of different places. And then I camped for 2 weeks, got back, and I didn't have any gigs booked in, and I was just going around getting myself on bills. And that was the first time I went to Edinburgh, was doing that
And do you remember your first ever?
Laugh.
in my life or in comedy.
Do you remember your first ever review? Do you remember your first ever review? What it was like?
Yeah, I got a short review from a website called Chortle, and it just said I was affable.
Oh.
But in a nice, they were saying it in a nice way. But I remember seeing that word and being like, I never want to be described as affable ever again. So it was
Sure, they didn't miss an L.
laughable. Very nice.
That's,
Do you know what?
Do you know that's?
I think you guys are going to be fine on this tour.
Oh, we've turned you already.
No prep on that joke.
I'd written that before.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fair enough. You've always been looking for an excuse.
But James, this is interesting because you have a certain style of comedy, right? You do. You have this certain style. It's kind of it's.
How would you describe it?
I don't know. I've always had low key whimsy, and then people really pick me up on it. But deadpan whimsy or whatever. Yeah.
But how do you kind of find that style? Because with everything, if you're an artist, if you're a painter, you have a certain style of painting.
Yeah.
And if you're a comedian, not everyone has I suppose. Sort of the big guys do have a certain style, but you have a very distinct style. You could sort of just hear you or hear your sort of the room, and it almost could tell it's you. And how do you design that? How do you come into that in a sense?
I think you just got to be in tune with yourself, and the more gigs you do, the more you kind of register what works for you on stage, but also what you feel happy with. Sometimes something will work, and you go, that's not me. I don't really want to be talking about that kind of stuff or whatever. And you have to be honest with yourself to take it out and not just keep it in just because it has laughs. You've not got to be this comic who's chasing laughs all the time. And
So it's a lot of introspection and
just trying to be this is what I would want to watch, and this is what I think would work. 'Cause I always think ticket prices, I never feel completely comfortable with them, and so I want to put on a show that I think is worth that ticket price, and so trying to do something that is me. And I think that's why, like, a lot of the time, I know you don't like the term reality stars, but like a lot of the time, like the reason why I think you guys are successful and appeal to people is because without maybe even intentionally doing it, I don't know, you seem to know who you are, and you're just being that. You're already this kind of
people find it authentic.
There's this fully formed persona there, and I think that's what a lot of the time in comedy you kind of have to work quite hard to almost be yourself or be an exaggerated version of yourself.
And so has that evolved? You know, you mean, and how has it evolved? You know, when you started, what kind of comedian were you? You know,
when I started, I came on. I thought you got to be nice to everyone. Everyone's got to like you, and so I came on like really.
I want everyone to like me.
I'd always be like, even though I was
Jamie's in that
I was
place,
nervous. Yeah, but Jamie, I think is genuinely like that, right? But me off stage,
so insecure.
Yeah.
Just deeply, and it's real stuck within me. It's never going, that insecurity.
But it manifests itself in a positive way. You're insecure, but then in order to like deal with that, you're nice to everyone and all that. Whereas my insecurities often manifest themselves in like pushing people away, not being horrible to them, and not some people, they're insecure, and so they slam people and they're horrible to everyone. They're a bully. But like with me, I kind of like withdraw and I go into myself a bit more, and I don't like put myself out there very much. And so like when I was in stand up, I thought, I've got to go out there and just be friendly to everyone. But they could tell it wasn't real. Yeah. They didn't buy any of it, the whole affable thing, and be like, hey guys, this gig is great, you guys are awesome, and all that. And they're like, you don't think we're awesome. And then
they can see into your eyes.
They can tell so easily. And then I just started after a few years, maybe a couple of years, I started being like, actually, if I pull back more and leave bigger pauses and don't try and like make them like me, they actually are drawn to me a lot more, and it's nicer and it suits me.
So who would you say are the comedians that you look to throughout?
Just kind of look at Franz. I've never seen him this interested. I mean,
really.
It's normally he's a bit like aloof. He's literally like, just tell me more about you.
Yeah, who would you say are your inspirations, your comedic inspirations? Throughout
the comedians
history.
I started watching when I first discovered comedy was like, I think Lee Evans was the first comic I saw. I saw him on it's a VHS, and the first stand-up comedian you see, especially when they're doing observational comedy, just blows your mind, because you're like, how do they know this stuff about my life? Like how I thought I was the only one who did this, and I think that, which is mainly what comedy is and stuff like that, is just letting the audience know they're not alone and stuff like that. And then like Richard Pryor in his live in concert show is like probably the best example of filmed stand-up ever, and I used to watch that all the time. But then the stand-ups that made me want to start doing stand-up were people like Josie Long and like Paul Foot or Will Hodgson and people like that, who I think until I saw them, I thought that stand-up comedy has to be observational, and you have to be this kind of comedian. Yeah. And then I saw them and realised you can talk about whatever you like, you can talk about anything, and you can do it in any way that you want, and that it was more like, music or something, where a stand-up comedian is essentially like a band, and you got your own style and your own performance, and that's what people come to see, and that's what made me want to start doing stand-up.
But that's so funny, because you watching someone like Lee Evans at the beginning, right? This guy who's mad and hectic and sweaty and just jumping out. That probably makes you think, this is what I got to do in order to be. So therefore you replicate someone who you're actually not, because you feel like that's success, so therefore I got to copy that.
I guess in any art form, you almost feel inclined to, you imitate before you can innovate, right?
Yeah, I think the person I was imitating the most when I started was Ross Noble. It was more like, I improvised a lot, but also like that kind of friendly, affable nature came from watching him and how I felt when I went to see him, and wanting to be friends with the comic because they're so friendly. But like, I
love it. God, I just want to be friends with him.
But then yesterday, literally at my gig yesterday, I was doing a new bit of material where I literally say to the audience, I never want to be friends with any of you. And like that's how it's come now, is that 10 years later I'm on stage doing a routine about how I never want to be friends with anyone in the audience, and I don't want them to want to be friends with me. I'm kind of really laying that down.
It's so funny because we had Rhys James on the podcast, and I was saying, Rhys, how do you get over the fact of nerves and things like that? He said, don't worry, I just look at them like cattle.
Yeah.
I see my audience purely as cattle.
I have more respect for them than he does, but fair enough. Reese is an awful man. I can't believe you had him on this podcast.
But this is
Awful human being.
But this is the funny thing. So talking of Josie Long, right, and people like Josh Widdicombe, I've heard you've been in how many car crashes and train crashes?
So I've been in 3 car crashes that when the car's been written off, 1 train derailing with Josh, and then a train nearly derailed once after I've been in a car crash. So I was in a car crash.
Were you driving in the car?
Yeah, I was driving all 3 times. Yeah,
Really?
And it got progressively more and more dramatic. And
Were you driving the train as well?
yeah, they were like, "Do you know what? It's your birthday. Come and drive the train and don't derail it."
Oh, I won't.
Yeah, old habits die hard, guys. Sorry. And then
Wait, and can we go into so I mean, because car crashes, train crashes are pretty freaking scary. So why don't you start with the train crashes? What happened?
Well, the train kind of like so we discovered afterwards what happened was the wheels that hold the train onto the tracks just dropped out of the train and just fell
Were
off.
you and the engineers?
Yeah. I tightened all the screws before we set off. Good to go, boys. And then they just dropped out, and so the train shifted off the tracks and onto the not onto the grass, but onto where all those stones are. Where there's loads of rocks on the other side of the train tracks. So we went onto that, and so all these rocks were like. So first of all, they started just spraying out of the sides, and
you're in the actual sort of train. You're sitting by the window,
sitting in the carriage, but on a table with Josh, and we're facing each other, and we just see like. We think we've run over a branch is what we thought had happened, because it was a bit of a shudder and then this like debris spray, and we thought, oh, we've just gone over like someone's left a branch
or a body. You're used to that with your car.
Yeah, that's the game, isn't it? Speed bump or body. But like saw the. And then these rocks started spraying more frequently and more of them, and then they started arcing over the train and smashing the windows, and like so the whole train was just being pummeled with rocks.
Where was this?
On the way from London to Leicester. We were going to the Leicester Comedy Festival. It was quite a big, significant moment in our careers, actually, because Josh was going to do a competition called the New Comedian of the Year, which is quite a big comedy competition, which he actually ended up getting there just in time to go on stage, and he won the competition.
Oh, really?
You're just surrounded by winners.
Yeah. It's really rubbing it in my face. I absolutely hate it. Yeah, and we just derailed, and basically it was like 5 minutes of this violent shaking, then it stopped, and then it was 5 hours of just waiting to be picked up by a new
But that's terrifying.
train.
It's like Armageddon when and also you play it off pretty calmly, but going into something like that is because then every single time I just imagine that you get in a vehicle, you're like, if you feel like
it didn't flip over the train.
No, it didn't. We felt it was going to. There was a point where we were both holding this table with both hands and looking at each other. And it felt like this is about to tip, and if this, I don't know what happens then.
Yeah.
And luckily it stopped. It was just 5 hours. Also 5 hours of being stationary, then eventually being brought onto a rescue train, which is such a grand term. A plane actually. We got on it, and they were saying, "Oh, the buffet carriage is free." And so that's nice. I remember seeing
cloud.
a man. Yeah, exactly. Well, this man went up and he got a free can of Stella. And the saddest thing, probably one of the bleakest things I've ever seen, is that he turned round and his wife was at the other end of the carriage. And he turned around and he held up the can of Stella and he pointed at it and just did this mini celebration. And it was like, mate, we've been stationary for 5. Everyone's day's ruined.
Was he from Corby?
Yeah, he probably was. He's like, I can't wait to tell the boys about this. Can't wait to throw this at some reality TV stars when I get home.
But I mean, that is like a really sort of significant moment, as you said. But then, like, I suppose then being in a car crash, which was scarier, being in a car crash or being in the train?
I think the car crash was, especially like the one when I was on my own in the car was the one I was most scared about afterwards, because only I could have been hurt, and so the other two, I had passengers in the car and hit other people, and no one was injured, no one was hurt, and I was just relieved. So it's this overwhelming feeling of relief. Whereas the first one, when it was just me, I was really scared afterwards.
Really?
And
But you had just passed your test, and you just
8 days after passing my test, and I went round some back roads, skidded on some mud, pinballed against a hedge in the ground for a while, and then stopped. And then I say no one else was involved. I then tried to pull away.
We'll do a hit and run.
Yeah. I was like, I can't not hit anyone in this crash. But like, at that point, I kind of like pulled out into the, because I was in denial about it. I was like, I've got to go home. And so I
Wait, what? You were panicking. You were going to get home.
Yeah. I was just like, this hasn't happened. It's probably not that bad. I won't get out and look at it. and I started it up again, which just started miraculously, and then I went into the road, and then it just stopped to get installed, and then it wouldn't. I was trying to start it, nothing was happening. The lights were all off. I couldn't turn the lights back on. Nothing was working. And then I looked up. It was at night, and I saw these headlights coming really fast towards me, and it's like it's a back road of a country, so you can't overtake. I saw them coming. And then I looked in the rearview mirror and there's another car coming just as fast. And I was like, okay, like I'm just a sitting duck. I don't know what to do. And then they both...
And there's no lights on your car.
No lights on the car. I'm just I'm just not even there as far as they're concerned.
Oh my God.
And then they both saw me at the last minute because their headlights hit me. And they both overtook me, but they both overtook me on the same side and hit each other and went into a ditch. And... So I'm just sitting there in the car, like I don't really want to get out and see what's happening. I mean, luckily they both climbed out the ditch, and one guy bollocked me, and the other lady, I kept apologising, and this other lady says, "Don't apologise, stop apologising to him." But like,
Was this when you were being affable?
Yeah, I was trying to be affable as possible, trying that persona out. Nowadays, I tell them go fuck themselves and push him back in the ditch. But back then,
well, it's working.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, it would have worked for me. He'd have been like, "I like this guy."
He's authentic.
Yeah, not trying to be liked.
But I swear to God, I've never been. France, have you ever been in a car crash or anything like that?
I've been in a car crash. Actually, I was being picked up from school for Easter holidays, and it was a school run. The person who was picking me up was in a convertible. So
who's the person picking you up from school?
my friend's mum. So. Yeah. So anyway, we were leaving the school, and it came out onto this main road. And as we were coming out, this car came careering to the back corner, and we skidded up onto our side and then slammed back down. Yeah. But actually, if we'd flipped in a convertible, it would have been.
And hey, I'm not gonna lie, I was trying my best to flip you. But it's my signature.
But then, so James, you probably don't get in a car and drive it that often, do you?
I don't drive anymore. After the third one,
I mean, I can't believe. Can we just put this out? I'm never fucking going near a plane with you. I'm just not going.
Everyone survives, mate.
You're just traumatized forever.
If you're going to be in a crash at some point in your life, you want me there.
And I love the fact that even though if you're not with someone in the car, you still get other people involved in it. Anyway,
yeah. They're all there. Somehow I rope people in. The last one, a guy went into a ditch. So like on the final one, there was these cars that kind of like, one of them went into a ditch because of me. And afterwards, I was talking to the police, and this guy, he was being helped out of the ditch, out of his car, and then he was given a Zimmer frame, and then he's walking on that, and I was like, oh my God. And then the police officer I was speaking to went, don't worry, he was like that before. He was like that before. What a phrase. But like, it was reassuring to know, okay, sure.
Oh God. Okay, right, James. Also, what we like to do in our podcast is we do something called Question of the Week, where basically Francis asks us a question, we try and guess what the answer is, and we get the answer in part two. Normally we get it wrong because they're very random. So Francis, let us have the Question of the Week.
How many of the planets that we know about?
Well, I can do it. I can do all of them. Sun. Jupiter, Saturn.
Already.
That's not the question.
Well, I can do all
How
of
many
them.
of the planets?
because you said sun.
How many of the planets can fit between the Earth and the Moon?
Oh, sorry?
How many of the planets can fit between the Earth and the Moon?
Well, hold on a second. Do you mean
in the space between them?
how many planets could you get between the Earth and the Moon, or how many of the individual planets could fit between the Earth and the Moon?
No, or how many could you get between them?
How many could you get?
Well, that's easy. This is the easiest. Shall I go through what you could fit?
Yeah, go on then.
Neptune, 100%. Pluto, it's 2.
Yeah.
Is that counts as a planet?
Yes, yeah.
It still
well, I
counts.
guess Pluto, yeah.
It was written off, but like,
I'm in a room with a bunch of nerds. Does that
Yes,
count?
thank you very much.
Pluto, Neptune. You can
Bunch of nerds. Yeah, my SI. Do you want another one?
Pluto, Neptune.
You can't even name all the planets.
Yeah, I can. Venus. That's it.
That would be all the ones.
That's
you
all.
could fit.
You can get 3. You can
Okay.
get 3.
So you're saying 3.
I'm saying 3, yeah.
3 sounds like quite a good guess. Let's see.
Name the others.
Name the other ones.
Yeah.
Jupiter. Saturn.
Obviously.
Uranus.
Of course.
My favourite.
Yeah. I know 'cause I've gone the other way now. Mars.
Yep.
You said Venus already, didn't
Yeah, missing an obvious one.
you? Earth.
Yeah,
that-
that's the one I was thinking of.
I didn't think we had to mention that one, but like, that's fine.
See, I forgot that one.
Yeah. Are we counting Earth in this
Yeah,
one?
we are counting Earth, yeah.
So
Because
Earth
that
counts.
is actually obviously the one, that's the bookend, right?
Okay, well then I say 4 because Earth counts as one.
All right, well, you can say 4
Counts
as well.
Bookend. I'm going to say...
It's thrilling, isn't
I
it?
want to say 1 or 2.
1 or 2.
Well, which 2 would you fit in there?
If we're counting Pluto, I'd go for Pluto. And
Love this.
yeah, Neptune's another small one, isn't it?
All right, well, I will tell you the answer to that question in part 2.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, we also have Francis and mine diary, and
And mine.
Francis and mine, just my English. But yeah, get ready for that on tour.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corby won't mind.
yeah.
That'll endear you to them, if anything. So
So we read our diaries out, and you can comment, you can say anything you want. It's just basically what I've been up to during this week, because I know that you'll be thoroughly interested.
yes.
Wednesday. So what you may or may not know, I am a multi-talented person. Now, I don't like to brag, but I still hold the javelin record for under 10s at my prep school, showcasing the talent that you see before you. I can actually show
Who are
you.
you writing this to before we carry on? Because like when people do their diary, they say "Dear Diary," or they're writing it just about what's happened. When you say what you may or may not know, who's that to?
Just my alter ego, just to my older
That's
self.
to his diary.
Yeah,
That's to the diary who might not know that about him. Yeah.
No, it's to my older self, and I look back at my diary and I just go, God, I was talented.
Oh,
How would
Like-
you not know that then?
Oh, because I've been in a car crash with James.
Yeah.
That's why I've lost all my memory.
so now these diaries are all you've got to go on.
34 meters and still not being broken. In fact, it's the longest held record at my school to date. So, yeah, true. I got the picture. So it therefore might not shock you that I have a radio show for Heat Radio, which I do every week.
Okay, so you're just plugging the things that
No,
you're...
just telling you. My producer and I sit in a booth and record a weekly show that airs on Saturdays and repeats on Sundays, just in case you wanted to hear more of my voice. There's been numerous famous people to enter the building: Ariana Grande, Ed Sheeran, Gareth Gates.
What, you didn't interview those?
No, I didn't, but they were just in the building.
I mean, I'm getting this sneaking suspicion this is actually written to the listener, isn't it, on this show? I mean, just in case you want to hear more of my voice, it's not to the diary or to your future self, is it?
Well, it is to my future self, so
Yeah, just in case it wants to hear more of...
he wants to hear more of me.
Yeah.
Yes, you got
Go and
amnesia.
listen to Heat Radio.
I ran into my studio out of breath and slightly late, put the headphones on, and with a quick sorry for being late, I didn't really look up. My producer nudged me, and I looked up, and Boy George was standing in the next door studio. I love Boy George. As I was looking, he turned around, laughed, waved, got his camera out, and took a photo of me. Not only that, he came into my studio to say hi and say what a big fan of mine he was. Actually, I lie. He didn't really know my name and said he'd seen me on TV. Dreams do come true.
Boy George, I sat next to Boy George watching a comedy show once. He's a
yeah?
talker. He talks
Oh,
on
really?
shows.
Oh, no.
Yeah, couldn't turn to him and say, "Shut up, boy." But it was. He talks a lot. He's a chatter.
He does talk a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Was he wearing his hat?
He was wearing his hat actually.
That must have been also annoying for the people behind him as well.
Yeah, they were probably absolutely livid about it. He didn't care.
I suppose he doesn't, right? He's Boy George.
He's Boy George.
Boy George. He's Boy George.
George.
Oh, boy.
Jorge.
Boy George.
Friday. It was my friend's stag do in Copenhagen. Once again, I'd done my usual where I say I'm going to come, but don't really know/want to come, and therefore book my flight last minute, so it's the most expensive it can possibly be. Not only that, 6 people had bailed the day before, and the last person bailed would have had so many daggers in his back it would have been frightening, which is so true. You can't be the last person to bail on anything
No.
ever. You have to be like the middle or the first.
You can't. But you can't bail like close to the actual stag. Then you're if it's like the day before or something.
What do you guys think of stags, be honest?
They're not great.
They're terrible.
But unless they put, like, I went on a really good one last year, but that's because, like, you know, it was put on for him by a mate who knows him really well and just thought about what this person actually genuinely likes and did that rather than going, well, it's a stag, so I guess for some reason we've now got to all become lads.
Yeah, exactly. But like, do you know, actually, it's one of the leading causes of death for men in Britain is men going on stag do's.
That, comforting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
But also, I think why should a stag make everyone feel dirty?
Yeah.
You know, coming out of it.
But also you feel, it's James is so right, you feel like you have to become something that you're not. You feel like, oh, let's drink and wear a bib and just like throw beer on a plane. I mean, you don't want to do that. You feel incredibly awkward.
I went on a really lovely stag in Miami, and we all went skydiving and fishing. It was actually epic.
That's very nice.
Actually, one of our producers, Pete, went on a stag, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to Lisbon.
He went to Lisbon. Yeah, he went to Lisbon.
Sounds nice.
How was it?
Painful.
See, there we go. That's the reaction everyone gets.
Yeah.
It's just painful. Everyone comes home not mates, and just no one likes each other, and you're hungover. It's terrible.
Is that what happened on your...
Nah, I was only there for one night, as you'll find out. The problem was I had too many drinks the night before, so I woke with a gasp at 8:30 a.m, having slept through my alarm and missed my 8 a.m. flight. I quickly checked for new flights and booked the next 1 p.m. flight at £300 to Copenhagen, changed, sorted myself out, jumped into a cab and all the way to Gatwick. As we pulled into Gatwick, the driver asked what terminal. Horror struck. I checked my boarding pass, and of course I was flying not from Gatwick but Heathrow.
This has happened to you quite a few times.
Happens to me a lot.
You fly to the wrong place.
Well, I just go to the wrong place. I therefore had to book another flight leaving at 6 p.m. for £250 plus the taxi to Gatwick and then to Heathrow to board the next flight. Now, any normal person would have bailed, but because of the daggers, I refused to. Therefore, I flew to Copenhagen for about £1,000 to have dinner and return the next morning. This is why I hate stag do's.
Give me a cheer, everyone in Corby who related to that. Yeah, we have to spend an extra £1,000 that you just got knocking around.
Right, ladies and
I'm such a dick, guys. So much money I'm spending all the time because of my own ditziness.
There we go.
James, you're not just having the best time ever.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah, like this is like a bouncy castle, a theme park, and a water slide all combined into one.
It is pretty dangerous.
A log flume.
A log flume, yes.
Actually, that's interesting. What is your favourite thing in the world? What do you love more than? Because I know that you hate shot puts.
Sure.
And you hate. What do you hate? Shot puts.
Why do you hate shot puts?
Shot put, I think it's just such a boring spectator sport. Like, it's so, like, I don't get it. Like,
I don't think it is a spectator sport, is it?
Yeah,
but
it's
like,
athletics.
when you watch it on the Olympics and stuff, and they go to the shot put, you're like, why are we going to the shot put? Because they're gonna. It just doesn't look impressive. I know that, like, logically it's impressive. Like, it's a heavy thing. They're throwing a heavy thing further than most people could throw a heavy thing, but
No,
it
I
doesn't
agree.
look good. I think if they threw like a satsuma or something and just like you know, they just absolutely pelted it out of the stadium, then I'd watch that because it'd be really fun.
Yeah,
It'd
if it
go a
was
really
on
long
fire
way.
or something.
The
Yeah.
Satsuma.
Yeah, it'd be much better. It just go a really long way. Whereas actually, we're just watching this thing go a short distance. It's a short distance. It's not very far.
I love that. It's so true.
It's quite anticlimactic, actually,
Yeah.
because they're doing this big spin.
Yeah.
And then it just goes bloop.
Yeah, and I don't really. When they do the spin, I'm like, I'm not sure that helped. Like, how far would you have done it if you didn't spin round for ages? Like,
So they get dizzy.
yeah, I don't understand it. Like, so yeah, I don't like that. I don't like geese.
What about,
Yeah, I heard-
what about the hammer throw?
geese? Hammer throw's all right. They get it a bit further, and at least like when they do spin round, they get that satisfying kind of like swing on the hammer
Yeah.
when it kind of like hovers round a bit. It's like,
And you always
like
think, God, is someone going to get hit? So it's
Yeah.
quite exciting.
yeah, that's fun. Javelin obviously is a lot of fun. And
I can't. Those people that stand right in the middle, where
Yeah.
like right next to where it lands. I just can't. I mean, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. like,
Yeah, I
thinking
mean,
about it.
yeah, is that really your passion?
Yeah, exactly.
Could you not have done another job? Like, was it that you had to do that? Is it worth the risk? I don't know if it's worth
Is it? Well, I mean, that's why they banned lawn darts, right? You know, those
Right. Yeah.
I guess they're like mini javelins, right?
Yeah.
Which used to.
And what about, and you hate geese. Why?
Hate them.
Why do you hate geese?
They're obnoxious and bullies. They kind of like it's how they hiss at people, hiss at everyone, and they just kind of get in amongst it and like
I love how you're pretending to be a geese.
yeah,
right?
I'm pretending to be a goose while I'm doing it. But it's just the kind of like just so aggressive, and also like I found out that they have tiny little teeth on their
Oh, yeah,
beak
they do, yeah.
and tongues, and their tongues are covered in teeth, like horrible creatures. I hate anything that hisses that shouldn't hiss.
What, like an egg?
Yeah. If an egg hissed at me, I would hate it. I remember like there was like a Goosebumps book when I was a kid. The Goosebumps books were quite all
I
the
love
rage.
Goosebumps.
Do you remember the ones that you could turn to a certain page? Do you remember the ones where you go like turn to page 55 if you want to take the left
Choose Your Own
route?
Adventure?
Oh yeah.
No, Choose Your Own Adventure books. That's not Goosebumps. So you know. But Goosebumps there's one called Night of the Living Dummy, and it's
I've read that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a ventriloquist dummy
Yeah.
who comes to life, and the first time the kid sees it, it's walking along. It's nighttime. The kid hears a creaking on the landing, gets up and looks out, and there's like seems to be a little person, like a little boy, is walking along the landing, and they're like, that shouldn't be a little boy in my house. And they go up and they put their hand on the little boy's shoulder, and it's the dummy, and its head turns all the way around and hisses at him. And I was like, I had to close the book. I was like, fuck that. I'm not reading this any longer. That's really scary. It's horrible. It's hissing dummy.
They were quite frightening, those books, Goosebumps.
I hated it.
I love that. Fuck that, I'm not reading that. Fuck that, I'm not reading that anymore.
Couldn't do it.
So you never finished it?
I did finish it eventually. I got the guts up and went back to it. But like, if it was going to hiss again, I was
Feeling brave.
If there was any more hissing in that book, it would have been it. But like, Robert Blaymeyer hissed at me in school. He was meant to go on the trampoline and he didn't. He was just like sat in the corner, and I went up to him and Robert, it's your go next. And he went. And I was like, right, I'm out. Forget it. You don't have to go on the tramp. I don't care if you go on the trampoline or not.
To all of our listeners, thank you so much for writing in with all of your comments. We love it. As always, please follow us on our private podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and all the socials. We have so many things in. So we got one which is from Alex. Now, this is the update from a listener who wrote to us about he lives in Australia and the girl lives in Canada, and they met at Oktoberfest, and they made plans to meet up in Hawaii. Now, the great news is Alex wrote and told us they had an amazing trip, and he has exclusively told us that they even dropped the L-bomb. Yeah. How insane is that? So this is one of our listeners who took advice from us. We gave them the advice, they followed the advice, and now they're in love.
Wow.
Also, I like how your listeners are very much like you as well. They meet each other. Where do you want to meet? Hawaii?
Yes.
Just quite casually drop that in. Do you want to meet in Hawaii? Yeah, I've got a spare weekend. I can go to Hawaii at some point.
Yeah, I'll be there actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably say that I love you while I'm there, actually.
We also got another one in, which is it says Light. Love the podcast and you three. Jay is my fave. Talking about you. They didn't even know you were on this.
Who wrote
that's
that?
amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
you
very
three.
much. Cheers.
I wonder if you can help me with a problem that's really got me totally distraught. Basically, there's this guy who I'm totally in awe of and majorly attracted to, but he was way out of my league. I started messaging him with a fake name and fake photos of an absolutely beautiful girl. I know this is wrong, but I did it.
That is wrong.
Yeah, that's why you catfished him. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
We've been messaging each other for 2 months, even spoken on the phone and been so flirty. Problem is, he desperately wants to meet me, and I want to meet him too because I'm completely in love with him now. What do I do?
I think she's writing to the wrong people. Shouldn't she be
Yeah.
writing to that show?
No, this is great. I have written a list of ways to
Turn this
improve
a
my...
psychiatrist or something.
I've written a list of ways to improve my appearance, hair, nails, etc. Easy, and then I could lose weight, get fit. I could do my best, come clean, and hope he finds me attractive, or I can just keep putting him off and until eventually he gets fed up and stops.
I think you should definitely stop catfishing people. It's wrong, and also just don't lie ever.
Yeah,
or
just
at least,
don't, especially like think about like, dear listener, for one.
No, get into it. Hold on, get into it. So go on, dear listener.
Honestly, for one, you probably need help. You need to speak to a professional about this. That is not a normal thing that you're doing. It's actually pretty upsetting behaviour.
I think it may be illegal as well.
Also, here's a conversation that has never happened. So how did you meet your wife? Well, she catfished me, and then what she did was she obsessively altered her appearance so that I'd be attracted to her. And then when I met up with her, I decided, you know what? She is quite fit. It doesn't matter that she deceived me. I will marry her and be with her forever. Oh, what's that? You wrote into a podcast and you told them all about it there? Oh, yeah. That's fine. So just don't continue this behaviour. It's not all right. And the fact that you really the most upsetting thing about all this is that you thought it was casual enough a thing to just write into a podcast about, and that you didn't see that maybe this is like a lot more serious than you think it is. So,
Also, she gave her name Ruby, so...
Oh, well.
there you go. Why is that her name though? This person.
Yeah.
This is probably a guy named Trevor.
Right, we've got some questions for James. Now, James, this is from Sam via Instagram. How much of your hair did you give to Jamie's new...
What to Jamie's new hair transplant?
Yeah, it says that. It says.
Is that a trick?
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone got you with a prank.
Someone got me with a little prank right there, I
Yeah.
think.
So what's the answer?
I donated quite a bit of hair to your hair transplant, didn't I? You said you wanted some of these wavy blonde locks.
Okay, we got another one from Nathan, which says.
Glossing over
Okay,
that.
here's-
Straight on to the next bit, not talking about his hair transplant.
Here's a good one. How do you deal with hecklers, and what's the trick have you learned over your comedy career? That's from Nathan.
You deal with them all on their own individual merit, and what you don't do is have one stock response for everyone, or one thing where you go, I've got to slam them and shut them down, because some of them are just excited and want to get involved with the show and really like you. And if you're like, you shut the fuck up, it kind of ruins their night. So you just kind of.
Unless it's in Derby, and then it's like, Bruh!
Yeah, they really love it. They're like, yeah, well, shut the fuck up. But like, yeah, so you just judge it by like if they're just like you'd speak to people normally. So like that's a part of it. It's like a lot of comedy is, I find, is just like learning to think how you normally think anyway. And when you start, you've got these preconceptions, and you are like, oh, if I get heckled, I've got to. I remember seeing a comic early on who's a really good comedian, and he dealt with a heckler quite aggressively, but it was fine because it suited him. Because I was like really in awe of him, I was like, that's how you got to do it. And so I'd be on stage doing really like whimsical comedy and going, hey guys, I talk about apricots, and someone would heckle, I'd be like, you're a fucking paedophile, and like really like go like completely
Straight for the jugular.
And it was stuff like that. I was saying stuff like that.
And in your head, you're going, yeah, got him. That was funny.
Well, I'll go away going, I don't know why the atmosphere changed so much after I called that man a paedophile. And then I had to realise, oh yeah, those words are really heavy, quite loaded words. And probably got to save them for when they really matter or it's relevant. So yeah, so
Save
now
them
I just
when they matter.
yeah, save them for when the guy might literally be a pede, and then that's fine. But like, I just kind of now, you deal with them as is. I would also be aware that I've always got to be aware that a lot of it, is my insecurity. If I'm like going into a heckle, if so the heck they heckle me, I've got to not let my own kind of. I've got to be nice to them in a way.
Have has a heckle ever left you completely speechless, or
Not left me speechless. Heckles affected me quite a lot.
Really?
Like, oh yeah, like I 2 months ago, maybe not even that. I basically had to leave the stage because I was about to cry, and that is not a joke. Like this guy, he kind of basically I dealt with him really well. Like I was doing my set, and he was saying just that he didn't like it, and but it was loads of stuff about how he liked me on TV, and he'd come to see me. This is really disappointing. This is shit.
What, how did he get all that in? It's like a monologue.
Well, because I engaged with him. But basically, I was having a laugh with it because I wasn't taking him seriously. And so I was like, it was a really good exercise for me of like, I'm not slamming this guy. I can tell he's trying to upset me. Like he's actually trying to hurt my feelings. But like, I'm just going to play around with it and not take it seriously. It was going really well, and the audience were really liking it. And like, I finished the set and got off. I was like, great, cool, doesn't matter. And then I basically got brought back on for an encore, which I think was mainly out of sympathy for like the fact that I'd had to deal with this shit for so long. So they were like, get him back on and you can do it set properly.
We feel sorry for him.
Yeah, a bit of that.
pity party?
Yeah, and so I came back on and like I made a joke that he'd stuck around even though he knew it was going to be me again, and then I thought it would be funny because again I'm kind of like deliberate in the moment. I'm like, I'll do the opposite of what comics are supposed to do. So we're supposed to destroy him. So I'll do the opposite of that, and I'll apologise for being so shit, and then maybe that'll be fun. I'll just try that out. Because sometimes you try stuff out without knowing if it's going to work or not, and you think, fuck it, I'll just try it at this gig. If it doesn't work, I'll never do it again. If it does work, I've got it in the back pocket. And so I'll start apologising to him and being like, man, I'm really sorry you've come here and you wanted me to be good, and I feel like you've been let down, and I'll try really hard at this. But like, I'm doing it for a joke. But as I'm saying it, my brain goes, this is how you feel. Like, this isn't, like, you genuinely feel like this. It's not like you're not doing this for a laugh. Like, this is, whenever anyone heckles you, you do think, oh, I've let this person down. And then my brain went, well, better start crying, because like, you probably should cry in that case. And I've done this like therapy trick on myself. And I had to just like, as I started, and then my voice started cracking, and everyone could tell I was upset. And then even the guy started looking at me going, oh mate, it's totally fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter. And then like I just kind of got to the end of the sentence in like a really hushed. I was like, I'm sorry, mate. And then I put the mic in the stand and just had to walk off. And I was like,
And that was your encore.
that was my encore. Was like go on stage, cry, and walk off again. Like so like, and it was mental. So like I definitely like it still gets to me.
Okay, we got one more from Dylan. And now Dylan says, can you please perform the Kettering Town song? I'm a huge fan.
It's very nice. I mean, it's a very, very long song.
What is the song?
It's a song where, like, the Kettering Town Football Club chant goes K and an E and a T and a T, E and an R and an I-N-G, T and an O and a W-N, Kettering Town,
And then it
FC.
goes on and on and on.
And my version, I go round each time, and each time I go round, I
You
miss
don't
out,
have to do it
I
now,
miss
but you
out
can
an
watch
extra
it on-
letter. You can watch it on
Watch it on
repertoire,
Repertoire,
and on Netflix. But like, yeah, basically, I sing it over and over again on a loop, and each time I go round, I have to miss out.
I was
another letter
practicing.
each
I was
time.
practicing with Happy Birthday.
Yes.
H and a P and a P and a Y. B
Wait,
and
so
a-
explain this. So what did you? So your version is what? So you go K and T. Oh.
K and N and T and T, E and an R and an I-N-G, T and an O and W-N, Kettering Town FC. And then the next time you go, and an E and a T and a T, E and an R and an I-N-G. And then the next time you go around, it's and a T and a T, E and a. So you got
Oh
to keep
no,
on missing them
that's
out.
that's way too. That's like rubbing your head and your stomach at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I can't.
How long did it take you to?
A while. Like I decided I wanted to do it, and that it would be funny to. I really. A lot of my stand-up just starts with me liking something, and then so like I just like that song. I genuinely
Yeah.
think the song is funny, even though it's just singing about Kettering Town Football Club. But I just like the song, and so I thought it'd be fun to like do that game, and then but I was like, it'd be too much effort. I don't want to do it. And then I had this Edinburgh show to write. It's like it would fill quite a long time. and so I was like,
Exactly what we're
I'll do it
thinking.
then. And I had to like practice it at home, and because I used to play drums and stuff, I'm quite good with rhythms, and so I was like, just like use your skills as a musician and try and incorporate that in there.
Yes,
and so when I started doing that, it got easier.
You were in a band. as
Yeah,
well,
I used
right?
to be in bands and stuff. and I was-
What was your name? Charles Strawberry? Or?
I was in a band called, so I was in loads of different bands, but that band was called the Capri Sun Quartet, and I was called Sir William Strawberry.
Sir William Strawberry.
Which was my middle name and my favourite flavour of Capri Sun at the time. Not strawberry guy anymore, it's too sweet and sickly.
Yeah.
More go for the orange or the
Yeah.
blackcurrant, but like, yeah.
Oh my god, it's so basically what we also like to do on the podcast. I know this is a bit tangent, but we like to do a prank call. And because
Yes.
you got all these songs and got all these things, I felt like we could do a prank call. Now the Royal Baby's just been born.
Yeah,
Okay.
royal baby, yeah.
We got a royal
Which
baby.
I've started using as an insult to people already. Stop being a royal baby. You're a royal baby, mate. This guy's a royal baby.
So what we want you to do is phone up Buckingham Palace, and we want you to try and book the royal baby as a guest on the next podcast.
Easy.
That or Prince William or Harry or the Queen or just someone. Just riff it. Go with
mate,
it.
I'll get the baby, don't worry.
Hello, it's Marnie speaking.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Hello, it's Marnie speaking.
Hello, Marnie. How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Great. Is this the press office?
Yes, it is.
I'm phoning on behalf of the Private Parts podcast and just phoning about booking a member of the royal family for the podcast.
Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean.
So it's a podcast, and we
To
kind
do
of
a
like
podcast or to be involved in a.
to just be involved in an episode. We have different guests on every week, and this coming week, or like as soon as is at their convenience, we'd love to get them on and just ask them some questions. We have a variety of different guests on the show all the time from all walks of life. We've had on Gordon Ramsay has done it, and Usain Bolt did it once, and like a lot of quite big names, but from all different areas. And we'd love to get the royal baby on.
Okay, sorry. Thank you very much for your call.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I think that I didn't catch your name,
Pete.
but thank you for your call. But that won't be possible.
But just like with someone else though, like not like just I don't send them on their own. Like someone
Thanks
else.
very
be-
much
be
for your
with
call.
Them. Like,
Goodbye.
no, just like with someone else. Like a reminder.
I think she was wise to that.
We got further than I thought we would.
Yeah.
Don't send them by themselves. Send them with a minder.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was the problem.
Yeah, I mean that would be.
What's your name? Pete.
Yeah. Clearly not my name. Clearly not my name.
You and Ruby would get on well.
Yeah.
All right, Francis. It is now time for the answer to the question of the week. So please give us the answer.
Are you ready for it?
Oh, we are ready.
It's quite surprising, actually. I thought. Do you want to have another guess?
No.
How many planets would fit between?
How many planets would fit between the Earth and the Moon? Of all the planets.
I said 4.
I said 2, didn't I?
We're both wrong. It's actually all of them.
All of them.
No.
All of them. All of the planets would fit between.
Even Jupiter.
And Saturn.
Every planet that we know of, it would fit in the space between the Earth and the Moon.
As they are, or ground
As they
up
are,
into little bits.
as they are, like side by side, lined up. Like
You idiot. Saturn is full of gas.
Oh yeah, that's the point. Well, Saturn. So Saturn doesn't count. You're putting Saturn just on top of another planet.
no,
aren't
that's a planet.
you? Yeah, but like you're not putting it. Are you just mushing it into another planet that's already there because it's made of gas? Or is it taking up its own space?
It's taking up its own space. It's a
Rings
planet.
included.
Rings included.
Amazing.
Okay, so that's the answer.
So you're both wrong.
I just don't think you can fit every single thing
Well,
in.
that's the truth. So-
I just don't believe that.
Are you also moving the moon?
no. You.
Are you pushing the moon?
Oh yeah, I
further
forgot
away?
to mention that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
fit
are
them all in.
You are moving the moon
And then
as
put the
far
moon
away as
on
you-
the edge. Yeah.
Right, Francis, do you know what time it is,
We
buddy?
wouldn't just need to move the moon. You could move the Earth as well.
Move all of it.
do you know what time it is?
Oh yeah,
dude?
I think it's time for my diary.
Oh, right, it is.
It's a bit different to your one actually,
Why is it a bit different?
because we're very different people.
Well, I mean, we're only a little bit different. We're not that different. We're only slightly different. Francis's diary is normally about him and Pusey driving his Ignis on the Pusey Vales, like looking at
Wow.
geese.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's
Pusey. Where's Pusey?
No, it's not in near Marlborough in Wiltshire.
Go on, Francis. Read us your diary.
Monday. It's not so long. I've just got a couple of days. Monday, the 16th of April, or I've actually written if April.
James, do you not like his little audio voice that he goes into? Monday.
I quite like it.
Quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost soothing
Yeah, very soothing.
and slightly creepy, but
Dear
soothing.
Diary, Katie and I have been repainting the cottage, which has proved a Sisyphean undertaking, or at least it feels that way.
Who's Katie?
Katie's my girlfriend.
Well,
Fair play.
She
no
also-
one's
she
ever
also-
met her, so
She also loves the.
What was all this one in a
repertoire.
million talk? The whole interview, you've been cracking on to me. And it turns out, Katie.
Yeah. Well, Katie's a big fan of you as well. So, but not like.
of course, because Katie's in your imagination.
Oh, I
so
see.
anything that you think, she thinks.
Yeah.
That's true. No, not always. Sometimes we disagree.
Yeah.
First, it was the very old wallpaper from the spare room, which ended up taking a lot of the wall along with it, requiring me to put my plastering skills to the test. Though plastering is not rocket science.
Look how thrilling it is. He's talking about plastering. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just full of...
Luckily, I've amassed some enviable DIY skills over these 29 years, and that is lucky for me because they have definitely come in handy. Like the time our local partner in Ghana was tasked with finding us a house to rent near the mine, only to discover on arrival, having paid a year in advance, that the house was not even halfway finished. This is a true story.
Oh, God, it's gripping.
And looked totally different to the house in the glossy photographs. The owner, who had received the payments, made some excuses that he would be using the money we paid him to fix it up. But after my years of Africa, my years in Africa told me otherwise.
This is when all of the listeners switch off. This is when the
I
dip
think
comes.
it's quite a good diary.
Yeah.
We ended up fixing the house up as we lived in it, and it's really where I finessed my skills with a trowel.
Very nice.
Hey, what do you feel about that, James?
Is that the whole thing?
That's
Yeah,
Monday.
Let's look at your hands and you've got is that
Monday.
plastering?
Yeah, that's paint. Yeah.
So it's true.
Yeah.
True story as well.
It's true.
Hands
Jamie's
coming in.
isn't true.
Mine
No,
is true.
Jamie's.
Mine is true. I got pictures and everything.
Yeah.
Pictures of
Boy,
what?
boy George.
Sorry, what was your diary entry? You did some plastering?
Yeah, and painting.
Yeah. You did some plastering and some painting. And then you went to knew a man in Ghana.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
No. Tuesday, the 17th of April. I realise it's only this is my actual diary though, so I'm sorry if it's not.
Yeah, you've done your actual diary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not using yours to plug your other jobs that you've got.
No. Tuesday, the 17th of April. Wait and see.
Oh, well, here we go. Tune in on Heat FM in the
No.
afternoon.
I realise it's only spring, but summer has arrived, and as a result, the English have just stopped working. Because sunny days are so sparse in the UK, whenever a hot day arrives in the country, we are swept by a wave of FOMO, people feeling like they shouldn't let it go to waste. Someone sent me an email saying that they had hoped I was out enjoying the sunshine with a nice glass of rosé at 11:30 on a Tuesday morning. No, I am not. I'm working like a slave. painting my cottage and trying to bring to market the most delicious cider the world has ever tasted.
Throwing the word slave around.
Yeah. Although not like a slave, because it's my own, cottage, so I'm just doing it myself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
DIY.
People could say.
Jamie, if that was Jamie's diary, he would have been like, I paid a plasterer £2,000,
Yeah.
and then he went to the wrong house and
Yeah. But I
had to
still
pay
paid
another.
for him anyway.
I still paid for him, and I gave him a big tip.
Wait, is that? Oh, speaking of tips, do you know where the word tip comes from?
No, go for it.
Well, hold on, wait there.
The end of a spear.
No, it didn't. So the word tip came from. I'm just trying
Googling it.
No, I'm not googling it.
It's quite off the cuff for you, Jamie.
I wrote it down. So hold on 1 second.
Do you have like a little file in your a folder in your phone with like all your little bits of trivia?
Just a little bit of trivia. No, this is.
You
I don't have it. I just
write it down.
occasionally do. So tips, actually. So basically, back in the day when you used to go and want to get tips for like money and investments, you would go to a coffee shop, and in the coffee shop, you would pay a tip into a jar which was on the table, and the tip would be to ensure prompt service.
So you do it beforehand.
You do it beforehand. So you pay the
This
tip.
is in. I can see your phone now, and this is in a file that just says to ensure prompt service. Tips Coffee House. SO up to scratch.
That's that
Yeah.
note. So.
I don't need notes. I just need prompts.
Yeah.
So do you think, because obviously in America tipping, you kind of have to do it because it's just, socially unacceptable
Yeah.
if you don't, because they get paid so little
Yes.
in their wages. But then what do you think about tipping taxi drivers? Because I tip taxi drivers, but then they do effectively own their own business. So
Yeah.
you're tipping them to do their own job.
Yeah. A lot of the
Do you
time.
agree
I
with
think-
that?
Yeah. I don't really know if I tip them that much. I think I just round it up.
But there's,
A lot
yeah.
of the
Oh,
time.
you round upper, so it's like it's
I
like
always-
sort of I'm a round upper as well. So if it's like £4.20, I go to £5.
I find it funny when you're in a taxi with someone. It doesn't happen these days because everyone's in Ubers. But if you're in the black cab with someone and someone's paying with a 20 and it's like a £5, then you just go, "Oh, keep the change, mate."
Yeah. Good joke. Good joke today. Yeah.
And then you'd be like, oh no, can I?
No, actually, I'll keep.
Ladies and
Then you have
gentlemen,
to watch them squirm.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, James, thank you so much, man, for
Thanks for
coming
having
on.
me.
James,
Dude,
you're
honest,
a legend.
Yeah, you are. You're
Go and check out Repertoire on Netflix. It is hilarious.
Dude, yeah, go and check out the Netflix show. It's absolutely, honestly, it's hilarious. We're saying before, we're not just saying it just good. It's so funny. Also, are you on tour? Are you going on tour?
Not on tour this year. I'm taking it a bit easy this year. I'm doing a lot of work in progresses for next year, going on tour. But yeah, just taking it a bit easier. Also, let's plug the book, Classic Scrapes. You can
Classic
buy that.
Scrapes.
If you want to hear more about the car crashes, they're all in there.
And actually, Jamie, you never finished your creepy story about stalking James on a train.
Oh my
You
God.
started that before we even started. I don't know if it's even been said on the show yet. You said
Yeah.
you saw me on a train.
I say what happened was I was coming back from Manchester
Creepy.
the other day. I was on a train back from Manchester, and the train got in. It was the last train back, so it must have gone in at like 11:45. And you were wearing red
you on that
trousers,
train?
and
Yes.
I was walking in the front of my business partner, a guy called Ed, said, "Oh my God, I love that comedian." And I turned around and it was you, and I went, "Well, he's coming on the podcast." And I went to turn around to say something to you, and you took a left turn around the building. So I thought, do I chase him or do I just let it go? So I decided not to chase you. So it was like midnight.
enough.
You know what I mean?
Were you on that train?
I was on that train.
We're probably in a.
Thank God we didn't crash. That's
Yeah, I mean, lucky you.
That train did not derail.
James, man, honestly, yeah, as I say, go and check out the Netflix show. Go and get the book. You are honestly hilarious, buddy,
Thank
and you
you.
deserve all the success in the world. You simply are
kind.
incredible.
Thanks very much.
And buddy, as we say to all of our listeners or to our guests at the end of the show, we love to leave our listeners with something inspirational. So whatever you have in mind, please leave them with
A
something.
thought or a...
Inspirational thought. Just
Put you on the spot there.
not very good at inspiring people, really, if I'm honest.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, just call people names and stuff. Look,
I think you should go into that moment
all
where you.
babies are royal babies.
Oh, that's true.
And if you were once a royal baby yourself, and there's no reason why you shouldn't feel royal today.
That's true. But yeah, I suppose they're not as royal as the royal baby, right?
Well, not like technically,
Technically.
but like it's you can still feel.
Yeah.
You know,
You can still
as
tell
special.
yourself
as the rule. Yeah,
You can
like,
you can look in the mirror and go, "You are a prince."
yeah, you're a prince.
You do
feel
that.
Like a
Jamie
prince.
actually does that.
Yeah. And then the mirror falls down,
Yeah.
and he realizes he's got some plastering to do. And he phones the wrong guy, and
Pays him
everything.
£2,000.
Yeah,
I love this. This has been one of my favourite. I think.
We'll have to get you back,
I'd
James,
love to. Yeah,
if you'll,
it's a
if
lot
you'll
of fun.
come.
Yeah, thank
We'll
you very
come
much.
back.
Yeah,
Hey, listeners, thank you so much. Hey, we shall see you next week.
See you next week.
goodbye.
Goodbye. Go goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, do you want to tell them to go and buy tickets to our tour? Because it's.
I love how we're
around.
rambling
yeah,
on the
if
end.
you-
It's great.
Yeah.
They're probably still all listening.
If you enjoyed my stories about car crashes, then go and see their tour.
You heard it here first.
Love you guys. Bye.